Hartford, December 16th, '81. My dear Howells, it was a sharp disappointment, your inability to connect on the Canadian raid. What a gaudy good time we should have had. Disappointed again when I got back to Boston, for I was promising myself half an hour's look at you in Belmont. But your note to Osgood showed that could not be allowed at yet. The Atlantic arrived an hour ago, and your faultless and delicious police report brought that blamed Joe Twitchell powerfully before me. There's a man who can tell such things himself by word of mouth, and has as sure an eye for detecting a thing that is before his eyes as any man in the world, perhaps. Then why in the nation doesn't he report himself with the pen? One of those drenching days last week he slopped downtown with his cubs and visited a poor little beggarly shed where were a dwarf, a fat woman, and a giant of honest 8 feet on exhibition behind tawdry show canvases, but with nobody to exhibit to. The giant had a broom and was cleaning up and fixing around diligently. Joe conceived the idea of getting some talk out of him. Now that never would have occurred to me. So he dropped in under the man's elbow, dogged him patiently around, prodding him with questions and getting irritated snarls in return, which would have finished me early. But at last one of Joe's random shafts drove the center of that giant's sympathy somehow and fetched him. The fountains of his great deep were broken up, and he rained a flood of personal history that was unspeakably entertaining. Among other things, it turned out that he had been a Turkish native colonel and had fought all through the Crimean War. And so, for the first time, Joe got a picture of the charge of the 600 that made him see the living spectacle, the flash of flag and tongue flame, the rolling smoke, and hear the booming of the guns. And for the first time also he heard the reasons for that wild charge, delivered from the mouth of a master, and realized that nobody had blundered, but that a cold, logical, military brain had perceived this one and sole way to win an already lost battle, and so gave the command and did achieve the victory. And mind you, Joe was able to come up here days afterwards and reproduce that giant's picturesque and admirable history. But darn him, he can't write it, which is all wrong and not as it should be. And he has gone and raked up the manuscript autobiography, written in 1848, of Mrs. Phoebe Brown, author of I Love to Steal a While Away, who educated young Wing and her family when he was a little boy. And I came near not getting to bed at all last night on account of the lurid fascinations of it. Why in the nation it has never got into print, I can't understand. But by jings, the postman will be here in a minute, so congratulations upon your mending health, and gratitude that it is mending, and love to you all. Yours ever, Mark. Don't answer. I spare the sick.